Hi everybody, Rob Hunden here, CEO of Hunden Partners. When it comes to transformative real estate development that's complicated and hard and needs creative thought and wisdom, there's no bigger, better firm than Hunden Partners to do that, with our dozens and dozens of experts who are shepherding these projects and processes through the treacherous pathways to ultimate success around the world. So, with that said, let's talk about something that most communities are dealing with, and that is dead or dying malls. We have worked on a bunch of them at Hunden Partners and currently are in process on several, including now down in Hoover, Alabama. Everybody knows that the tastes in retail have changed, that the traditional mall is sort of a dinosaur, and it is tough for traditional malls, especially those that aren't the A-plus malls in A-plus locations in great demographics. The rest of them are frankly suffering. And so while retail isn't dead, the traditional mall is often dead, other than those, top 20% or so. So the rest of them are going through a bit of a identity crisis and really need reinvestment. So when we get called in to help, either by a city or a mall owner, to help them figure out what to do with this mall that they just bought out of bankruptcy, or a city is trying to help keep a mall from going completely down the tank, what needs to happen? So first off, you have real estate that is in a great location. So it's a large expanse of real estate in a great location. So it's got some built-in advantages in the community. These were always built in pretty great locations that are highly accessible, and people have been in the habit of having the traffic patterns to go to these places, even if they don't prefer indoor traditional malls anymore. It's still along their routes and their major arterials, and usually near other major demand generators and office clusters and things of that nature, and other shopping clusters that have built up around these. So they're in great locations. However, the challenges are you've got a piece of real estate surrounded by a ton of parking, and then each of the anchor stores is often owned by either a different anchor tenant or a creditor that now owns that real estate because the anchor tenant went out of business. And so frankly, it's a big jigsaw puzzle that needs to be solved. And sometimes you have to have real estate redevelopment plans and density plans and walkable mixed use development plans that have to be responsive and agile to the fact that you may not get a hold of all of the real estate that's there. You may have a couple or three big chunks of missing real estate that you just can't negotiate your way into. You may be able to, you may not. We will certainly help you do that. However, you've got to have a plan that sort of responds to that really sort of mixed up reality. And so what are we finding? What are we seeing? What we're seeing is there's certainly densification, walkability. People still want to live and work and play in these areas. They just want it to be new and fresh and authentic and interesting and a place they want to go. So speaking of all the cool lighting behind me, they want places that have different types of experiences for all the senses, the lighting, the sounds, the music, the smells of indoor food, outdoor food, food carts, bars, restaurants, entertainment, things happening in the morning with yoga and other kinds of activities that activate these different plazas that are indoors and outdoors. Live entertainment, movies that are shown, all kinds of things need to be done to sort of activate these, essentially like any other mixed-use district or neighborhood setting that wants to be activated in an urban environment, even though many of these are in suburban environments. And so we want the best of what cities offer, yet in a suburban location oftentimes. The process and timeline is long and difficult. A lot of analytics are needed to understand what's worked elsewhere, what's your current market like, what are the opportunities. For some, office is an option, for some it's not. For some, residential is a big option, for others, not so much. Now, entertainment, family entertainment, new kinds of bars and restaurants, a much bigger focus on food and beverage versus inline traditional retail. So all of these trends have to be looked at, as well as the specifics on the ground in your market, as well as what's worked in other places. And then with great design, great execution, and a lot of great negotiating and market analysis, financial feasibility, incentive tools that the local public sector can bring to bear to help get this transformative investment done. When it's all said and done, you can have some pretty great stuff, but it is a long slog. So the sooner you get on board with Hunden Partners, we can help you move from station to station without falling off the tracks. And so those stations are, what's your vision for what you want this place to be going forward? What's worked elsewhere? What's the market viability, what's the financial feasibility. Project isn't viable and there's a big feasibility gap. We have to know the economic and fiscal and jobs impact, because if we can recapture that net new fiscal, aka taxes, back into the project finance, then we can help fund this puppy. And then we can move into all of the other elements of the redevelopment, including hotels, retail, restaurant, family entertainment, residential, office. So all of those things will be fantastic. It is a long slog, but give us a jingle and we will help guide you with our expert teams to success. So thank you. Until next time.